Hey there, everyone. This is Leo from Leo J's Gym, and welcome to Leo J's Gym. I finally moved it all from our dank, dark basement that we've had it in for a while, and we have everything now moved over into our garage space. So what I wanted to do is kind of go over every single implement that we have in here right now, as there's been a couple of additions, as we have that entire thing that's going off in the corner. And I kind of just wanted to go off as to everything that's going on over here, all the implements that I have over here, what my plans are with the space, and kind of just go over everything that I have over here to kind of show the gains that I intend on making over the next year or so as I'm actively competing in the sport of strongman. I wanted to make sure that I have that space here so that way I can get right to training and also focus myself onto it. So let's go over every single thing that we have over here, starting with the centerpiece behind me. So the first implement we're going to talk about is about the Titan T3 squat rack that I'm using over here. It is a full-on built-together squat rack, and I've also added a Titan T3 squat rack pull-up bar onto this for a bit of stability, and also it gives me a pull-up bar that's onto this. It doesn't weigh too much, and it's not bolted down to the ground. Instead, I have myself a couple of sandbags that are on there in order to make sure that it's not wobbling too far when I re-rack the weights when I'm doing things like overhead pressing or squats or benching. I can re-rack the weight and the rack itself doesn't move too much. I didn't really need anything more industrial than this. I probably could have gone for a power rack as an example. If I built this gym in this room to begin with, I probably would have gotten the taller variant that's about another foot or two taller than this so that we could jump and do pull-ups on that, but I didn't have that luxury when I first built out the gym, so squat rack itself is going to do nice. However, what I did also add over to this were the safeties as well. So these can be attached over to the squat rack. And that's on there. Because generally when you're working out alone, you want to make sure that you're also working out safely. And there's a couple of times where I'm going to take a couple of reps over to failure, and I need to make sure that those safeties are there. Else I'm going to end up guillotining myself when I'm trying to max out in the bench press and having the bar land on my neck. That would suck. Or if I need to bail out from doing any kind of squats as an example, sometimes I'll just drop the weight right onto the safety bars and I'm good to go. Speaking of the bars themselves, let's talk about the actual barbell that we're using that's over here. This is going to be the Rogue Ohio Power Bar. I think that this is probably the best barbell that you'll use. I'm going to say why I got this one in just a second. You see, before I bought myself the Rogue Power Bar, I had this barbell that we see over here. This is probably, I don't even know the name of the brand of this barbell, but it is essentially the cheapest barbell that you could find over on Amazon. And as you might notice from like watching the camera itself, there's a large bend on the bar. So I was practicing for a contest where we had to do a 500-pound deadlift for reps off of blocks, which was turning into an 18-inch deadlift. And this bar could not handle it. It started bending immediately when I got 2 or 3 reps into it. And I went, oh no, I can't use this. And a couple of sessions after that, and I went, if I need to compete in strongman or powerlifting or anything like that, I need to have what is probably the best barbell on the market, which is why I got the Rogue Ohio Power Bar. So this one I kind of keep just because I didn't feel like getting rid of it, but I never use this because it's kind of, once again, bent out of shape and not very good to use for that reason. Also, the knurling is completely worn out on it, so there's no grip to this thing anymore, so it's just kind of raw gripping on this thing. Speaking of barbells, back over in this corner, we actually have a couple of different bars that we're using within this gym. The larger one that we see over here, I just made a video about. It is a Titan log, 85 pounds. We need it for strongman. Generally, it's only used for log pressing events, and I do want to make sure I'm really good at log pressing. There's about 2 or 3 contests that I do per year that involve a log press. So got the 85-pound log that's going in over there. I also have an axle bar by Rogue. This one I found for about $100 on Facebook Marketplace. And an axle bar, if you've never seen one beforehand, is just a much thicker barbell. It is 25 pounds, just plain steel. There's no bend, there's no whip, there's no give to this thing. And it's only really used in pretty much 2 different events. There are axle bar deadlifts that end up happening in strongman, and there's also axle bar clean and presses. So I'm going to have both of those available for me while I'm over here in my home gym. Another barbell that we're adding to that list too is just going to be like a cheap easy curl bar that I found on Facebook Marketplace. It weighs 15 pounds. It's not that impressive. I don't even know the brand on this thing, but it fits my plate. So that's kind of why I got it. The main reason I use easy curl bars for curling and also tricep extensions, as opposed to using just like the Rogue bar that I have over there, is one, you could do lighter weights because again, it lets you start at 15 as opposed to 45, but also having that curl that's on there, that little bend that's in the wrist, helps a lot with my wrists a lot. Because when I start using the straight bar and I try curling with that, I start feeling a lot of pain in my wrists, and that's not very comfortable for me. So I decided to go with the easy curl route, and that works a lot better for me. So I do like having this for those accessories. And finally, my last barbell that I have over here is going to be a multi-grip bar. I think I've seen it listed as football bar occasionally online. I saw this in the trash as I was just driving around, and I'm like, is that a multi-grip bar? I just jumped out of my car and just threw it into my car at that point. I don't know who made this. It works completely fine. There's no moving components or anything in this. I do find it pretty useful when I'm doing accessory movements for like the log as an example. If I want to do like incline bench pressing as an example, I get to have that same kind of hand position that you would have with a log or even like a Viking press as an example with this kind of bar. So I find it very good as like a bench and overhead accessory. And I've got all of these barbells sitting inside of a barbell tree made by Titan, so that's been pretty good. It's just 40-something pounds. It just holds all my barbells. I started realizing that with the sport, you started needing more and more barbells and different kinds, so I kind of just needed to make sure that I have a nice, convenient place to put them into, because prior to this, I kind of just had them laying on the floor or like on the wall, and it wasn't very stable to use. I also got ourselves a landmine. I haven't mounted this anywhere. I know that Titan does sell their own landmine you can attach over onto the rack itself. I didn't get one of those. I got a very cheap one that I found over on Amazon. Generally what I do is I just add a little bit of weight onto this and just slide the barbell in, and I could just do my landmine rows or other landmine related accessories with this just fine. I didn't mount it or bolt it down anywhere. I'm sure if I get heavier in weights I might need to, but honestly I could take like a dumbbell, put it right here, and then it never moves whenever I do my landmine, so that really hasn't been that much of an issue for me. Speaking of dumbbells, over what's going to be my dumbbell corner over here, I have a set of 90-pound power blocks. They generally come in as 50 pounds at the beginning, and you can get expansion packs that'll increase them from 50 to 70, and another expansion pack that'll increase from 70 to 90. So I got a pair of power blocks over here, and the reason I got these was because they were half off. The entire system over here, the 90-pound power blocks in total, and including the stand, cost me like $300. It was too good of a deal for me not to go for that, so I had to jump onto that while I had the opportunity. I do enjoy these as an accessory as well, and I can also adjust them not only from the 10 pounds that they have, but also they have 2.5-pound increments with these little weights that they have over on the inside. So if I ever need to take them out for any reason, I can take them right off from each of the power blocks, and now I've just dropped it by 5 pounds and throw it back on in there, and then lift it even those 2.5-pound increments between those weights. So technically it goes all the way from like 5 pounds to 90 pounds at 2.5-pound increments in between. And of course, I love using these dumbbells for a lot of accessory movements, though I do generally start my workouts with barbell-related movements, so the big ones like squats, deadlifts, your bench presses, and overhead presses. After I get those giant, like big lifts that are going on, I try to generally go for the dumbbell afterwards for a lot of the smaller muscle groups as accessories. And those aren't the only dumbbells that I've had. I'd like to actually show one that was a bit more sentimental to me. These. Now, I don't even know who made these. I don't even see a branding or anything like that written on them. However, these dumbbells that I have here, this is the first piece of exercise equipment I ever purchased about a decade ago. I was living in a very small apartment in Jersey City. I was in the Kmart, and as I'm leaving the Kmart, I'm sitting there thinking about my own fitness at that point. I'm morbidly obese. My health isn't so great. And we're leaving this Kmart, and on this discount rack they had on the way out, they had these. They only adjust up to 12.5 pounds. And I went, you know what? I think this is going to be the day that I'm going to finally start taking charge of my health and doing something about it. So I just bought them right then and there, went home, and then just started looking up whatever guides I found on like one of those like bodybuilding.com or even on YouTube, when they had like a lot of amateur YouTube tutorials for just using dumbbells. And even though they only went for very little weight, it got me started. And that to me was the most important aspect about it. So I'm very thankful for these. I never use them for any reason. They're just a trophy piece for me at this point. They're very light, but they still did the job for me, and it got me motivated to start exercising. However, right next to the dumbbell section, what we have here are our plates. So in total, I have about 700 pounds worth of plates that I can use, plus to add that to a 45-pound dumbbell, and you have 745 pounds. I've not deadlifted or squatted that much weight as of yet, so I haven't had a need to increase the amount of plates that I have. But this wooden custom handmade weight tree came from a friend of mine. He gave this to us, thought that it was going to be cool. I'm like, absolutely, I'll take it. So all the plates that you see here came from him as well. I got it at a massive discount. He was just getting rid of his entire home gym. And he's like, Leo, I see that you work out a lot. Do you want to have my entire gym set up? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And this was in 2020 when all the plates and workout equipment that you could find online was skyrocketed. It was all going by like 3 times the price that it normally was at that point. So it was too good of a deal to pass up. And I was so tired of commercial gyms by this point that I'm like, I got to jump in on that deal. So, kudos to him, my good friend Matt, for building this entire weight tree by hand and then having it, like, he brought it over here inside of his SUV as well. But this wasn't enough weight for me, as you can see that this doesn't equate 700 pounds over here. I have another 315 pounds worth of plates over in the other corner. Nestled here over on the other side of my gym, I have another set of plates. These ones are actually the regular standard, so it actually makes it so that when you're deadlifting, it's off the ground by 9 inches like it's supposed to be. I found these from a farmer who was also getting rid of his home gym on Facebook Marketplace. And then once again, I'm like, you're selling this $200 for 315 pounds worth of plates, freshly painted as well, remove the rust on everything. I had to just jump in on that offer while I can. And he included the metallic weight tree that was on it. These are the ones that I normally just use for deadlifting because once again, it's the right height, whereas the other ones, weight is weight. I don't need sponsored plates or anything like that. I just needed to make sure I had proper weights that are on there. Benches. So I have myself 2 benches here as well. We have a nice flat bench from Marcy. This one, once again, Facebook Marketplace. I'm going to repeat that a lot. Marketplaces are a really good spot to just get basic, cheap equipment. Nothing too special about it. Lets me bench press onto it. I get to sit down, do other exercises on this, but I realized I needed to get myself an incline bench because when I'm trying to do a lot of the incline movement, incline bench pressing, incline dumbbell bench pressing, even like laying on it or doing even preacher curls off of it as well, I need to get something with an incline, and I found this one pretty cheap as well on Amazon, the Flybird incline bench press. Nothing too special. I wouldn't even call it heavy duty either, so don't try to like press 800 pounds on one of these things. You'll probably have like a Rogue thick mat bench for that, but just 2 basic benches that'll work well. Also, it's nice to sit down between sets. Lastly, I just want to go around and talk about some of the accessory components that I have around here. We, of course, have ab wheels. I have these rubber mats over here if I wanted to do a little bit of extra height on my deadlifts, a ton of clips for the barbells that I have, some handles if I want to do push-ups off the ground, various elastic bands that I have hanging off of the walls over here. Over in this corner, I have myself a pair of crash pads that I got with the Titan Log as well because I end up having to drop implements from overhead for strongman reasons. Got to get myself a pair of crash pads so I'm not going to break the implements or the floor. And one additional implement that I still use to this day is going to be this bike I got from Walmart for about like $100. It still works, surprisingly enough. It's just a foldable bike. I honestly just cycle on this thing while like watching stuff on Netflix occasionally. Just get a nice half-hour cardio in here and there. But yeah, that's going to be everything for the home gym setup that's over here. So it's going to be everything here for the setup that I have within the home gym. It's going to be an ever-expanding project. So as an example, I'm going to get more flooring that's over in here. I only have a single rubber mat that's being used to house the brackets behind me. I might want to get like 3 or 4 more of them so I could place them all around and completely cover this entire area of the garage gym to make sure that I'm protecting the floor and protecting the implement. I still needed to hire painters here so I could repaint the place and get the whole place all nice and shiny and looking pretty good. Other goals that I have over here after painting and getting the floor done is also hanging up a couple of decorations, but I also intend on using this space for online personal training reasons. I inevitably am going to get my certification for personal training, and I would like to be able to assist you folks that are out there or other folks or folks that are in the area, maybe even some people in person, and help them achieve their own fitness goals as well as I have mine. And it's also to help really just get more people moving, active, and healthy from different walks of life. So that's a big goal that I have set in motion right now. I'm already going through my certification and training courses for that. So I'll probably make more updates on this channel as well about all that because it's a big interest of mine. I wanted to get, some motivation and even suggestions from you folks that are out there. So if you have anything else you want to add, things that you think I should add to this gym as an example that I might be able to look into, because there's a ton of things I would want that I just don't have the space for currently. Just let me know down over in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe and follow over my other socials as well at LeoJGym. And until next time, this is Leo signing out.